All right, we'll join you next week on Blog TV.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Saturday on Japan Hour. How does one survive when away from the comforts of modern living? Learn to hunt. Gather. And take time to savor the fruits of your labor. Survive rural life on Japan Hour. Saturday at 7:30 p.m. This program is brought to you by Sumitomo Corporation, ANA All Nippon Airway, Best Denki, Calbee, CTC Travel, Daikin, MSIG Insurance Solutions, NEC, Pilot Pen, and Yakult. Whenever you are in Asia for business or leisure, check into one of Accor's fine hotels and stay in touch with the latest news developments with Channel News Asia. Now available in Sofitel, Pullman, M-Gallery, Grand Mercure, Novotel, Mercure, Ibis, and All Seasons hotels across Asia.
Physics, chemistry, mathematics, geography, providing Asian perspectives in an ever-changing landscape. Channel News Asia.
Hello, check on the headlines now. European leaders are racing to save the latest rescue plan for the Eurozone on renewed fears of a Greek default. While Greece is set to hold a referendum on its second bailout package, a move which could scupper the rescue plan agreed last week. The surprise move already has the backing of the cabinet, and it has drawn sharp words from world leaders. The German foreign minister says the rescue plan cannot be renegotiated. The Greek Prime Minister is set to hold crisis talks today with German and French leaders. Bangkok authorities have evacuated a district less than 10 kilometers from the city's financial hub as floodwaters advance deeper into inner Bangkok. Residents in densely populated areas are also being warned of an increased danger of electrocution. New estimates from the Finance Ministry put flood damage at 7 industrial estates at over $19 billion. The Philippines has banned its citizens from working in 41 countries and territories that allegedly fail to provide safeguards against abuse. And those on the blacklist include strife-torn countries like Afghanistan, Libya, and Iraq. WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange has lost his extradition appeal. The High Court in London has ruled that Assange will be sent to Sweden to face rape allegations. He was appealing a lower court's extradition ruling in February. Qantas says it will compensate passengers stranded by its grounding of flights over the weekend. The move comes after Australia's consumer watchdog called on the carrier to clarify its response to travellers. Qantas says its intention was always to ensure that affected customers incur no financial losses. And news continues on Channel News Asia.
To some, they're trainiacs. To others, anoraks. To most, they're just geeks. But to these 4 young men, They prefer to be called train spotters, people who love spotting all types of locomotives. And their affection for trains is intense.
Because we are like railway fans, right, we'll go probably anywhere in order to see the trains.
Today is very special for these train spotters. It's the first time they're out train spotting together since Malaysia handed over the 26-kilometre Kereta Api Tanah Melayu, or KTM railway land in Singapore, to the local government 3 months ago. With no KTM train running within Singapore now, they've to cross the causeway to keep their love affair on track. And it's not just the trains that they miss.
The purpose of this trip is to train spot also, and it's also to visit the staff that used to be working in Singapore.
Before they can do so, Nicholas Lim and his friends have to travel about 30 more kilometres from Johor Bahru to Kulai, their final destination.
We have to come further up than JB Central to spot, because JB Central is quite restricted. You can't view the trains without a ticket, and the atmosphere is quite different.
The four youths are part of the KTM Railway Fan Club, an internet community consisting of people who share their fascination in everything and anything on trains. The sounds they make, the model numbers, manufacturers, and the interior designs. The locomotive, affectionately known as the Loco, is a powered railway vehicle that provides the motive power of the train. This Loco, the YD-M4, is well known among train spotters for its reliability. For the last 3 years, the train spotters have spent more than 30 hours a month at their unofficial clubhouse, KTM Bukit Timah Station in Singapore. Soon, they became unofficial track guardians, helping station master Ghani Osman chase passengers off the tracks to keep them safe from oncoming trains. Although now they've to travel far from home to be close to KTM trains and friends, their enthusiasm and optimism have not been derailed.
We rarely get to meet each other for a short joyride from on board the train from Singapore. So it has given me an opportunity to interact with them more and discuss more about the upcoming trains.
After travelling for an hour, the train spotters finally arrive at Kulai. Having memorised the train schedules, they know an oncoming train from Kluang will arrive in just 3 minutes. Without wasting any precious time, they take their places on the platform.
For Bukit Timah, it's not a station actually. It's more like a transit point for a train to pass by only. Whereas for Kulai, it's a full station where passenger board and alight.
But the thrill of train spotting in a full station hasn't quite made up for their lack of familiarity.
It's difficult to take photos here. The platform here is only as wide as the train carriage, which restricts our angle a lot. So we can only take most of the front of the locomotive. We can't really take the side of the train.
What keeps Nicholas and his buddies grounded on foreign land is their knowledge of trains, something which took them years to acquire. The first thing they'll look out for is the number in front of the train, with its first 2 digits representing its class. A Class 24 Loco is now passing by. And the train spotters have struck it big this time. This Loco, called Tok Naning or Grandpa Naning in Malay, is a rare sight. It's the only Class 24 KTM train in red, while others are grey in colour. For the past 6 years, Nicholas has kept notes on the stations he has visited, the trains he has seen, and even their arrival and departure timings.
When I do log these timings, I get to see what time the train passes by the station, whether it's on schedule or not.
Before the train spotters head back to Singapore, they have one more mission to fulfill at Johor Bahru.
It's important to visit my KTM friends that I made in Singapore, because the bond is there.
By noon, they're with former Bukit Timah station master Ghani to catch up on lost time. Master Ghani now runs the ropes at KTM Johor Bahru Central Station, and he's thrilled to see his old friends.
Kenangan yang manis ialah semasa 30 hari bulan Jun, semasa penutupan stesen tu, ada last kereta api daripada Tanjung Pagar yang dipandu oleh Sultan Johor. Semasa itu stesen Bukit Timah dipenuhi dengan ramai orang di stesen. Kawan-kawan saya ni lah, yang fan club ni lah, yang tolong saya.
It may be the end of an eventful day, but the train spotter's love for the local doesn't stop there.
Smart enough to consider different trading platforms. Visit saxomarkets.com.sg, the choice for intelligent traders.
Enter a world of song and dance. A world of make-believe and temptation, where everything comes alive. MediaCorp's first ever 1930s cabaret drama, a new achievement in Singapore television. Channel 8's blockbuster drama of the year. A Song to Remember. Debuts 22nd November, 9 p.m. on Channel 8.
Dry, itchy skin is often due to a damaged skin barrier. Physiogel is clinically proven to repair the skin barrier, locking in moisture for up to 3 days. Physiogel, recommended for dry, itchy skin. Repair your dry, itchy skin while you shower with Physiogel shower cream.
In this era of Asian emergence, what role does your business play? Calling all companies. You are invited to take part in Innovation Green and Future Business Survey, the first business performance survey in Asia aimed at assessing a company's innovation, sustainability and future business in the changing global economy. Log on to channelnewsasia.com/survey to begin survey. Supported by the following partners. Organised by Channel News Asia.
The KTM trains may have left Singapore for good. But somewhere in Ubi Estate, east of Singapore, there is one train that has its own schedule. It'll make its way from Tanjung Pagar to Bukit Timah Station whenever its owner, Nicholas, wants it to. Nicholas is so deeply in love with his trains that he could only vaguely remember that his craze started more than 16 years ago.
To be honest, I can't remember. It was probably before kindergarten. But I started getting fascinated probably by the MRT. I used to take a lot of rides. And this followed up to KTM. Personally, I like the way the train moves. Like different trains have different pickup speeds as well. Also, for the locomotive sounds, every engine is different.
Like most other railway fans, 19-year-old Nicholas is rather obsessed with the details of each train and each station. And it shows in the way he has displayed his extensive KTM railway collection that occupies almost every nook and cranny of his flat.
This room is considered to be like Singapore. So over there I have the Tanjung Pagar railway station with 3 platforms and 2 headruns. Over here we have the Kampung Baru Yard. So I have 7 lines, like as what is this in the real life. If you go to the end, there's also a turntable in case I need to turn my locomotives around. After this, the train will go to Bukit Timah railway station and thereafter to Malaysia in the next room.
Much like the KTM trains in Tanjung Pagar station, Nicholas's single cab loco must be driven onto a turntable to be moved around for its return trip. Not everything in the depot was automated. A good strong push by the assistant driver was all that's needed to help steer the loco towards the direction of its destination. Nicholas's loco is now ready for its next journey. It didn't dawn on Nicholas's parents that they were laying the tracks for their son's KTM Empire when they gave him a train set for his 5th birthday. From then on, all Nicholas wanted was trains and more trains. As the trains and tracks are cheaper overseas, he travels to Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur and Hong Kong twice a year to buy them.
My family and friends actually find this hobby quite interesting. They don't find it weird or boring at all. Whenever they come over, they would actually request me to switch on the trains and let them run around. Yeah. Even if I switch on the aircon, they'll ask me to switch off the aircon so that I can open my door to allow the train pass through across the room.
In Nicholas's mini Malaysia, there are 2 train services. The KTM intercity trains that connect Kuala Lumpur to Singapore and the electric urban monorail system. Over the years, this polytechnic student has painstakingly constructed his KTM train system as close to the real one as possible. Understanding train layouts is second nature to him. All he needs is to study the rail systems once before replicating them to exact likeness.
I do try to follow certain track layouts where the different design of the train, the different make of the train, I try to keep them within that certain section only.
What makes Nicholas's setup unique and meaningful is his great sense of realism. And sometimes he has to resort to a little ingenuity just to be spot on.
Since I've modelled the stations as according to what I saw, I decided to also paint the trains. I'll try to make it look realistic at the station.
Nicholas's dedication in perfecting his train set has much to do with his passion in train spotting.
To be honest, train spotting is not dull at all. It's just whether you are able to spot the differences, although the coaches may be the same. The locomotive numbers, or even the different class of the locomotive, the different make of the locomotive, what is inside the locomotive, it is all different.
Over in Malaysia, 11 kilometers from the capital city of Kuala Lumpur, lives another avid train enthusiast. Unlike Nicholas, who buys his trains, Suhaimi Ismail makes them. And he's the world's one and only KTM train model maker.
I built, I think, about 100 models over the last 25 years. I like to stand by the railroad and just watch the train pass by, especially the goods train. Because you see there's the sound of the steel clicking and then the sound of the heaviness pounding.
Model trains come in 38 different scales, and Suhaimi builds his using the S scale in the ratio of 1:64. Every foot of his train model represents 64 feet of a life-size KTM train. The S scale occupies less space in the house and allows him to incorporate more details into his models. But Suhaimi wasn't always occupied with the intricacies of model building. He started off as a collector of model trains. But in 1985, as his collection started to expand, he realized that it would never be complete.
But it's just collecting. Then I feel like something is missing. I want something that looks like KTM. I mean, like the train that I used to ride, but I couldn't find in store. So from that day onward, I began building my own train.
Most times, Suhaimi taps into his imagination to build these delicate machines. And occasionally, he would make a field trip to make it happen.
Sometimes I just sneak around to the KTM railway fan. I will just go there and take pictures at every angle, top, left, right, under the carriage. Even for coaches, I will go inside the coach.
Glue, cardboard, PVC pipes and computer ribbon cables are some of the common materials he uses to build his trains from scratch. In the last 25 years, he has spent up to $40,000. Each day, after returning home from his work as an IT systems consultant, Suhaimi would spend at least 2 hours crafting or painting a new railway carriage. One of Suhaimi's masterpieces is the Senandung Malam, or Rhythm of the Night, which measures 4.5 meters long. And a Senandung Malam train just won't do without a Malaysian-inspired train layout. His locomotive lumbers past Sedingan houses, which are squatter dwellings commonly found along parts of the tracks in Malaysia. In 2009, Suhaimi decided to pick up speed and take on the ride of his life.
The Eastern Antarctic Express was built to commemorate my 25th anniversary of building modern train. It took about 21 months and 15 days to complete.
This is no ordinary train. The reputation of this regal beast precedes itself. Relying mostly on his internet research, Suhaimi's train recaptures the glory days of rail travel with an observation deck, a dining car, and 3 types of cabins. The cabins are all furnished with sofas, chairs, lamps, and beds. Even the print of the cushion covers are an exact replica.
I think I've reached the finishing line of railway modelling.
I've been working with Yo-Yo Ma for 25 years, and we were friends long before that. We're close. In fact, sometimes he gets a little too close. We simply love working together, creating together. I can't say I know much about banking, but shouldn't it be the same there?
Tomorrow on AM Live.
There is no evasion of privacy in this matter. We give them all the leeways. But if they go out of bound, so what we do? So we control them.
Should you spy on your kids when they venture online? And when does it become an invasion of their privacy? We find out.
Then on Art for Art's Sake, we explore abstract works rooted in architecture, coming up on AM Live tomorrow.
In the next episode of Renovate, Mr. Suhaimi and his family are moving back to their newly renovated flat.
Hi, selamat Hari Raya.
And it promises to be unrecognizable from the old.
Wow.
Has the Renovate team solved their problems of space storage?
You came up with such an impressive design.
And moving around the house with their disabilities.
Because of the rust catcher, you would actually might minimize the holes to breathe on.
Renovate, tomorrow at 9 p.m. on Vive.
KTM trains have always played a pivotal role in Peter Chan's life.
My grandfather stays in Tiong Bahru Estate, and we used to come over here, which is a place which we call the Kampong Bahru Railway Yard. Behind me is our playground in those days in 1960. My cousins and I, we come here and play.
Peter's enduring fascination with the Kampong Bahru Railway Yard continues to this very day. Now, at age 57, he owns a huge collection of more than 1,000 pieces of railway photographs. Peter is using these photos to write his memoirs in the form of picture stories which his children will inherit when he passes on. For now, these stories are kept for his own indulgence.
It is true I go to great lengths and distances to collect photographs on the train. If I had been to that railway station and I had stood at a certain spot, I would try my best to collect a certain photograph of that spot that I stood in the railway station.
In 2010, Peter and his friends returned to one of the spots they visited during their train getaway to Hajai in Thailand. That was when they were still serving their national service in the army.
Our kind of friendship was a bit different. We developed it on the train when we were still young. Today we are all in our 50s. We still kept up with that relationship, and we never forgotten the interesting things that we did on the train.
As one of his most memorable moments in life, this incident has made its way into Peter's memoirs. Writing his memoirs is a complex, soul-searching journey of self-discovery. And the photographs Peter collects will give future readers a visual sense of the moment in time he's describing. They also help him document the drastic developments Kampong Baru has undergone over the last 60 years.
When I came to this place here as a child in the early 60s, a couple of things still stand to this very day. One of them is actually the FMS running bungalow behind me, but the power station in front of that bungalow is very new. It's probably built in the 1980s. So are those two blocks of flats behind me.
There's one other change which affects Peter right now. With photography moving towards digital form, collecting old photo prints will become more challenging. Recently, he received film negatives that are 10 by 12 centimeters. He took several days to locate a photo laboratory that's able to develop these irregular-sized negatives. And that's not the only hurdle he had to overcome.
My latest collection of evidence-based photographs come from Portsmouth in England. It comes from the collection, the personal collection of a 90-year-old English gentleman. He would only part with his collection provided I get someone, or I come personally to England to collect it from him. Fortunately, I have a very good friend who lives in London, who was willing to travel down to Portsmouth, driving his own car, pick up that nice collection of photos.
While Peter uses his photographs to write his memoirs, 25-year-old Haziq Hamidun's forte is stringing stories with words. Since 2005, he stands as the only Singapore correspondent for the Railway Gazette International, a railway magazine based in Britain. He was approached by the magazine's editor to supply them with a photo of a newly purchased locomotive from KTM. He sent them the photo, and the rest is history. Currently, this interactive media informatics student writes up to 4 articles a month.
I wanted to give it a try because the magazine is purely on railways and it's really something awesome.
Haziq's knowledge in trains didn't happen by accident. Like most train enthusiasts, he fell in love with trains at first sight.
Trains fascinate me since I was young, at about 6 years old. I was travelling back to my dad's hometown in Malaysia. It was at Tanjung Pagar railway station. So I was naughty at that time. I went to venture down the platform and I saw this big machine and its rumbling sound is so exciting.
Besides writing for the British Gazette, Haziq also uploads the sounds and sights of his personal videos and photographs regularly on the forum pages of the KTM Railway Fan Club's website. For the last 6 years, his contributions have kept members up to speed with KTM's latest developments. To the uninitiated, all trains look almost identical. But to a fervent train spotter like Haziq, each loco moves and breathes differently.
Different classes of locomotive have different chassis, different body, and different manufacturer. For example, the 24 class is much more rumbling sound. And 25 class is also a bit whining sound. Then the 26 class is much more quieter. It's a new generation of locomotive and they try to cut down the noise level.
Trains to Jahazi are more than just modern marvels of cold machinery. They've helped him find a meaningful connection with people from all walks of life and kept him basking in the warmth of lasting friendship.
What I enjoy most about train spotting is the bonding with the transporters, with the station staff, with the railway staff. The bond is like friends. Because from strangers, you approach them, then from there you become friends.
Call them train spotters, train modelers, or train enthusiasts. Whatever their label, their age or nationality, they have one thing in common: their somewhat quirky love for locomotives. Their passion for KTM railways and trains runs so deep that the closing of the 80-year-old Tanjung Pagar station and the 26-kilometre rail track in Singapore has fueled their zeal even more. Nothing in this world will stop them from seeking their rail adventures and continuing their journey beyond. It's a magical thread that weaves nature, nostalgia, and romance. But it's also a line of contention.
You have the cyclists, the joggers, the nature enthusiasts. So how do you try to balance all the different needs?
Hopes are high for the preservation of the rail corridor, but will they be realized? Envisioning the future of the rail corridor on Beyond the Last Journey, Wednesday at 8:30 p.m.
Providing Asian perspectives in an ever-changing landscape. Channel News Asia.
Time by Frank Muller. Brought to you by Watches.